What are you supposed to do when somebody offends you like that? Because your instinct is to react.
And most Christians have heard, just forgive them. And you should forgive them, but that's not the whole biblical answer.
Today we're going to talk about when to let offenses go, how and when to address them, and what real forgiveness looks like.
Because sometimes the most biblical response to an offense is the exact opposite of what your emotions are telling you to do.
Welcome back to the Iron Chat, another episode. We're going to be talking today about offense and being offended, how to be offended properly, but how to handle offense biblically, because we've all been there. We've all been offended at one point or another, and we'll probably be offended before the day is up. So how to deal with it biblically. This is a good conversation I'm excited to have. A question that we've received in the Iron Circle in our community. If you're not a part of it, make sure that you join. The link will be in the description below. But let's go ahead and just get right into it about the biblical response when someone offends you. The biggest reaction. So, Zeke, think of your personal life, my personal life. What is the most common thing that people want to do? Somebody says something, somebody does something that makes you angry, that offends you. What is your initial reaction?
Usually going to be anger or retaliate with mostly the same energy.
Yeah, see me, I say, forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do. And I pray for them. No, I'm just kidding. No, I definitely want to get angry. Like, you have wronged me. And it definitely makes something swell up inside you. Yeah, and it makes you want to do something about it. That is usually the initial reaction. Some other people, though, their reaction is to just retreat and like just crumbled inside and never see the light of day again because they can't handle it. In one way or another. There's two ways of not being able to handle it. You can't handle it, so therefore you blow up, or you can't handle it, therefore you retreat.
Fight or flight.
Exactly. But neither way is the biblical way. So let's look at a few things here. The first thing that to do when biblically responding is don't react immediately, because most of the time you're going to react immediately, and it's going to be the wrong interaction. Even if you pause, if like it's you follow up and react quickly, I'll make a difference here. We shouldn't react at all. We should respond. Reaction is very reactionary. Responding is something that you've decided upon. This is what I'm going to do. It's a little bit more deliberate. But James 1:19-20 says, "Be slow to speak and slow to wrath." And this is basically to counterbalance that first reaction. That first reaction is to be angry or to respond in an emotional way, and it's not always the right response. So, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, I have a story because when we were looking up this before we recorded, I remember reading the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, and I went back and found the story that I was trying to find. It says, after the Battle of Gettysburg, General George Meade failed to pursue Robert E. Lee's retreating army. At this time, he was very vulnerable, and Lincoln was thinking if you just would have taken him out, this could have ended the entire war, and they could have saved the country, and this would have just been huge. But he didn't do it. And so Lincoln, as you can understand, as the president who's in charge of all this, a missed opportunity, and he got very, very angry. He wrote a very harsh letter to General Meade expressing his disappointment, but then something interesting happened in the story that he never sent it. When he passed away later on, when Lincoln was passed away, they went through his paperwork and they found this letter somewhere in his paperwork lying in a room. But the thing was, he wrote it, but he never sent it. And they were thinking the reason behind that was in his anger, he responded, or I should say reacted. Then he took a moment and realized, I shouldn't send this, and he never did.
Yeah, so even Abraham Lincoln, yeah, he made his initial response was to be angry, to react, and to really put him in his place and say, "You were stupid, you were wrong, you could have." But then he came around to it and he's like, that's probably not going to help. And that's a great example for us to follow. Is like slow to speak, slow to wrath, swift to hear, as the Bible says. So you got to get out of your emotions. Okay, that's the first step. So don't respond, don't react, I should say, immediately. The second thing is to get your own heart right. So this is something that I've tried to practice for a long time. If somebody says something negative,
man.
Huh?
Said, yeah, man.
Amen. Something I've tried to practice a long time. What?
I'm just saying, yeah. Oh.
Anyway, you've ruined it now. Cut the show.
We're offended.
Anyway, if somebody says something negative about me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to look at this person not as who they are, like, okay, do I value their thought? Are they a super negative person? They're always negative. They have nothing but positive to say. Do they know me well enough to be able to make a to tell me what they're telling me? And do I value their opinion? And I don't mean that in a I don't care who you are, but I mean like if a third grader's telling me you're dumb, well then you should know better. Then like you should know the answer to that. Well, no, I don't really listen to third grader, but like the third grader is not going to, wow, I like, and God can use anyone, but in most cases, a third grader is not going to be the one I look to and hold in that light from their opinion.
Yeah.
But if it were a bunch of other people that I look to as counselors and I respect and I value their opinion as role models and all that stuff, if they tell me something, okay, they're not, and I know they're not just being whatever. They think about things before they just say it. That I'm going to notice a little bit more. So I got to get my own heart right. I got to first look at what's going on. Is there any truth to what they're saying? Even if the person is someone that I don't necessarily listen to all the time, like I don't agree with or whatever, I still listen to what they have to say. And then I have to be honest with myself, which is the key to pretty much everything. Being honest with yourself and doing some introspection. Is there any truth to what they just said? Whether they took it the right way or the wrong way, is there any truth? Is there anything I could change about whatever they brought up? And then I need to fix that. Am I only offended because of my pride? Am I only offended because someone called me out? Or am I offended because they actually did something wrong, like they corrected me wrong? And we were talking about this before. You can correct somebody and the person correcting, or you could correct someone and be right. Your correction is right. But at the same time, you could have corrected the wrong way. So there's something to be said about, if, okay, I'm corrected, is there any truth to it? They may have done it the wrong way, but is there any truth to it? Okay, there is truth. I need to fix that. So I'm going to get my own heart right. But if I can't get past that, I do need to go talk to them, which we'll get to in a minute. But definitely, first thing first is get your own heart right. Has there ever been a time where you got offended by something and only to find out, like after you thought about it a little bit longer, like, they have a point?
Yep, it happens quite often. I'm not going to name any names, but yeah, things like that would happen. And then you could be like, the reaction is to defensive and attack. But I want to say I've gotten better, I'll say,
Yeah.
to holding back. Or even if I do spout off a little bit, I usually always come around on the end. But that is the big thing, is like, yeah, there was truth. It's like delivering a package. You see the Ring cameras, people are saying UPS is the best because the FedEx guy, and they'll just chuck the package at the door. They don't care. And then I saw a delivery driver, and I'll give him credit, it was FedEx. He came, he delivered the package, and he actually covered it up, protected it. But sometimes people can deliver you something, you need it, but they could be like a bad delivery person where they just take it, they don't care. It's something fragile that should be delivered gently, and they throw it on there, and it's like, well, it's here, but you did it all completely wrong. But that could be another time for, if they're correcting the way you say stuff is you need to do it right, because it will be received wrong. But if you're the receiving end, try to take some truth from it, like you said, if it's valuable information, and then even though they may have said it wrong, try to see some truth before you go and talk to them. Make sure that, hey, you know what they said, it is right. I'm going to get some things fixed. Go back to them. Hey, I appreciate what you said, but I didn't appreciate the way you said it, the way you delivered it.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with bringing that up. But I like your example. I mean, it's the right package, but the wrong delivery. And I've been guilty of delivering the right package in the past, but have definitely had the wrong.
Yeah,
delivery.
I think we've all been.
So
there.
we not only,
especially if you're a teacher, I've had my moments.
That's definitely another thing to think about. Is just like, as we go into one of our future points, and I don't want to jump the gun, but it's like, you realize that if you're offended, you've also offended somebody at some point before, and that's going to play a factor in what happens next.
Let me ask you this: do you have an example of where you delivered and it was true, but you did it wrong?
I've done it.
I have one. I'm thinking.
I've done it. I was going to say I've done it plenty to you because you're my younger brother. It's easy to.
But anything come down, to mind?
Come down harsh on you, and as a brother, whatever I say, it's not the right reason. But
any outside
of my
family, any story. I'm thinking of one right now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a specific example, but I know I've done it plenty. Anyway, but Matthew 7:3-5, That's that passage that talks about basically you've got a beam in your own eye and a mote in your brother's eye. It talks about dealing with the beam in your eye first and then helping the brother with the mote. So it doesn't say you can never bring it up,
Mhm.
but you need to address what's wrong in your own life before you do. Because otherwise it's just it's a defensive thing. Well, you've got this problem. It's like, yeah, but you need to deal with your problem
Yeah.
first. Okay. It's like, hey, I recognize what you said. I'm going to deal with it. You're right. This is a problem. And I'm going to deal with it. I appreciate that you pointed it out to me, but I did not appreciate the way you delivered it. That did offend me. It bothered me, whatever.
Yeah. And sometimes they may not know that offended you.
Yeah.
Some people are not out for just to get you.
So another thing though is, so get your own heart right, but then not every offense needs to be dealt with in the sense of I need to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Because and we know that because in practice we don't. And so know when to pass over an offense or when to address it. For example, are you going to we've all done this before. Are you going to stop? Car cuts you off, makes you mad. That offended me. Are you going to roll down the window? And then you might get shot. But
Yeah.
but then are you going to pull them over and say, excuse me, I just wanted to let you know.
Excuse me.
I just want to let you know that you offended me when you pull. No, of course you're not going to do that because that's ridiculous. That's one of those things that you let it go. You pass over it, you move on.
Yep.
So know when to pass over something, know when to address it. And kind of a good rule of thumb is if you cannot move on, it sits in your spirit. You constantly think about it. You have this, and it just keeps frustrating you or keeps making you like this bad feeling, a negative feeling inside, whether angry or sad or whatever, and you just can't get past it. Then you're going to need to have a conversation about it with that person, not with everybody else, with that one person. But some things you can easily look over, like where they said that, yeah, I didn't like that comment, but they probably didn't mean much by it, or I've moved on.
Or in basketball, you're in the heat of the moment. Someone makes a snarky comment to you on the court, and everyone's heated. And after the game's over, it's like, who cares? I honestly forgot what you said. Sometimes there's but that is important because it sometimes it's like, well, that should never bother you. But something I'm learning is some people are just naturally more that way. So that means you just have to change the way you communicate with them. That goes kind of back to one of our first podcasts with Mark. You have to know how to meet people on their level. Some people at work, I can tease them and like make fun, and then there's other people you're walking on eggshells, and it's just haven't. But some people don't know unless you tell them.
Yeah. So like in Proverbs 19:11, at the end of that verse, it says that it is His glory to pass over a transgression. So not everything needs to have a conversation.
We have a meeting.
We would never get anything done if we had to have a conversation and confront someone every single
It's
time.
like imagine you suing somebody every time someone bothered you.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Some offenses can genuinely be forgiven and moved on without having a conversation. Some you need to have a conversation. But there's a verse in First Peter. I can't remember what it is. I didn't write it down, but it talks about charity. It talked about charity, and then it can cover a multitude of sins. You can be charitable, and you can forgive, and you can forgive a lot without ever having to confront the person about it. But again, it's not forgiveness if you keep thinking about it all the time afterwards. That means you do need to go have a conversation because you haven't forgotten about it. You haven't let it go.
Somebody said just now hit me. I'm trying to remember. Somebody said, he noticed if something bothers him the first time, he's like, okay, I'll leave it. Maybe it was a one-off. Happens the second time, he's like, does that still bother me? Why does it bother me? Happens a third time, he's like, I'm mentioning it to you. He's like, that way I can go back and be like, look, this isn't just off the wall. He's like, I've 3 different times you've done this thing, and each time I've noticed it keeps bothering me, and this is why. And on the third time, it's like, I'm pretty confident this is something I need to mention to you that's actually bothering me.
Yeah. I would say that this ties in with the fourth point, which is go to the person directly. If you're trying to decide whether you need to have a conversation or not, let me tell you this. If it's bothering you enough to go tell other people about what happened, then it's enough for you to go talk to the person, because you don't need to be saying, well, Zeke offended me, so therefore I'm going to go tell him, this guy over here, and this person over there, that person over there. I'm going to go to Zeke and I'm going to talk to him and let him know that he offended me. And then I'm going to deal with it. And after I've dealt with it, I don't need to bring it up to anyone. Now, there have been times where I've not followed that and I have felt guilty. So eventually I will go talk to the person And then after I've cleared it up with that person, I've gone back to all the people I spoke to about it and say, hey, look, I need to apologize for complaining to you and bringing this up. My issue, my confrontation, my offense. I've dealt with it with the person. It's all taken care of, and I don't want you to hold any malice in your heart towards that person either. Which you have to kind of swallow your pride a little bit to even go back. But hey, you shouldn't have done. Yeah, I shouldn't have done it in the first place. So, but go to the person directly. Don't go to your friends or your family to tell all them first. Go to the person that offended you first, and have that conversation with that person directly, and work it out. That's the way to do it. Matthew 18:15 talks about this. Talk to them, not about them. If some brother offends you, go to them and confront them. You want to handle it privately before involving other people. And I think number 5, going with this, the goal of going to you is not to prove you wrong, is not to, you were a jerk. It's not to get back at you. It's the point, it's the purpose of gaining a brother back, which is what Matthew says, is to gain a brother back. There's definitely been times where I've gone to someone and it's like, you said this, and I just wanted to prove a point. And my goal was not restoration at that point. My goal was to put them in their place.
Yeah.
And that's not
Feel good, huh?
It makes you feel good for the moment, but at the end, you're like, yeah, that was not the right thing to do. And pride sets in. That's why that thing goes on. Most of the time we get offended because of pride. But for true offenses, it's something you need to deal with.
I think it goes back. It's like, do you even want to make the relationship good anyway? Like, are you sincerely trying to make it? Like, if there's a disagreement, are you really trying to actually make it work out? Because if you're not, then yeah, don't talk to them. Go. And everyone's been guilty of it. Go stir the pot. I've had to backtrack stuff that I've done before, and it's not fun. It's like, let's just best to not say anything, because when it comes back up and someone says, oh yeah, didn't that person do this? And I'm like, they're fine.
Yeah.
Well,
one thing you just said is like, do you even want to make the relationship good? If that answer is no, then you still need to get your heart right, because you do need to. The Bible says that you're, as much as lieth within you, live peaceably with all men. You need to make an effort to live peaceably.
Goes back to our point.
It doesn't be like, you know what, that person offended me, and I'm okay being angry at that person. That's not how that works. It's like, I'm going to do everything I can do to live peaceably with you, and if you refuse to work with me and let's restore this relationship, then that's on you. But I've done all I can do. So in Matthew 18, I don't want to make this the whole part of the conversation, but it's that pattern. Go to them, and if they listen to you, great. They repent. That's you restored. You've gained a brother. If they don't, then you get a witness or two, and then if they don't, then you go before the church. You go before a group, and then basically at that point, it's like we're done with you because you would not. And most times it never gets to that point. Most of the time, it can be figured out with the first visit, the first conversation. If not, then usually the second one. But that second person, those witnesses usually can be like the voices of reason as well. Like, okay, you're actually wrong on this. You said he offended you, but you have something you need to fix. Because again, if they didn't examine their own heart before that, then yeah, we're going to have this battle of the wills. So get your own heart right. We said that you need to go directly to the person, know when to pass over an offense, when to address it, and then seek to gain your brother. So have the right goal in mind. That's to seek and to gain. You're not trying to win an argument, prove that you're right, or get revenge, or embarrass them. The goal is to restoration. And then forgive, to actually forgive them instead of holding a grudge. The goal, again, restore brother, forgive. Okay? So something bothered you. They say they're sorry. I was wrong. I shouldn't have done it. Forgive them. They'll be like, it's going to take some time to forgive you. Which I get that on some levels of like really done wrong. And I'm talking like criminally wrong and things like that. It can be hard, but we're still commanded to forgive because Christ has forgiven us of so much. Like if Christ died on the cross for us and we are the ones that put him there, we put Christ to death and he forgave us, then, and I say that because I know Christ laid down his own life willingly, but our sin is what put him there. The reason he needed to die on the cross, and he forgave us of those sins. And the Bible talks about this contrast all the time.
Yeah, like who are you out of all people
To not
to
forgive.
not do it?
Exactly. It's
That
kind of like the
the parable, yeah.
parable of the servant, the
Forgiving
servant of
is
the Lord.
massive debt.
It's like he had this huge debt. You're forgiven. This guy had like lunch money debt, and he's like, "You're gonna give me what you owe."
Yeah,
He
grabs him by
throws him
his
in
throat,
prison, and yeah,
throws
throws
him
him
in
in
prison.
like what?
How's he supposed to pay for when he's in prison?
So yeah, God expects us to forgive others because He's forgiven
It
us.
just looks ungrateful.
It is. It is. It really is. You're squandering the gift of forgiveness that you've been given by not extending that same grace and forgiveness to other people. But forgiveness is not based on whether someone deserves it or not. Otherwise, we would have never been forgiven. They may not deserve forgiveness, but
But who are you to say that?
exactly because
Because
God's
you're
the one that
forgiven.
sets the standard. In the week, Matthew 18 through 21 through 22, Ephesians 4 31 through 32 talks about this.
Well, I think it goes back to the I think we'll probably talk about it is sometimes you might go to somebody and they don't want to apologize. You've done your part, and like we talked about, you'll bring a witness, and then you'll obviously, hey, Ethan has, I have a problem with him. You won't forgive me, and you hear me, and this is it, and Ethan still refuses. At that point, you're done with your responsibility. You can leave it because in the Bible it also says, "Vengeance is mine." Like
Yeah.
he will take care of him. You, as long as you have done your part, you don't have to worry about it.
But it was not worrying about it. You still need to forgive, even if they never ask for forgiveness.
Yep.
You still need to forgive them. What if someone dies before you can confront them about their sin? That's a big thing. People's parents die and they had unresolved conflict, and then like, well, now they can't ask for forgiveness. They're gone. Well, you still need to be able to forgive, because again, the forgiveness is more for you than it is for them, because it allows you to live a life without the bitterness and the malice, and let you live spiritually free and emotionally free from all
Yeah, that reminds me of a story. I was listening to a book. He says a guy goes into work, somebody cuts him off, and he's yelling at him, and he's not paying attention to him at all. And he gets off on the exit. He goes to work. How's he going? Oh, this guy on the highway, he's cut me off. And crazy people out there. People are driving crazy. Police need to be out there enforcing the law. And someone's gonna get killed. And that your whole day is that. And that lunch break, you're telling people. And all along, the guy who cuts you off has no idea. It doesn't know who you are. But he's been living rent free in your head the whole time, which turns into bitterness. And the guy who did it, whether he knows or not, probably doesn't care or doesn't know. While you the whole time are being, what do they say? Bitterness is like drinking poison, hoping the other person dies.
Self-administered poison. Yeah, it's like I'm going to drink this, hoping it hurts you.
Yep.
It doesn't work like that. But I do want to say this with the forgiveness part. Some people feel like forgiveness means restoration back to the way it was. That's not the case. You can forgive someone and then use wisdom. So somebody hurts you, they violate your trust or something like that. You can forgive them, but it doesn't mean you have to trust them with all the things before. Like the example of a car. Like, I let Ezekiel, I trust you, and I'm going to let you drive my car. And you take my car, and you wreck it. You do something stupid, and you go wreck my car.
Yeah.
That could be upsetting, obviously. I could forgive you, but I don't have to let you drive my car again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to restore that part. It doesn't be like, I've forgiven him, so therefore, because people will ask,
take my keys.
Will you let him drive your car again? And be like, no, well, then you didn't really forgive him. It's like, yeah, I did. I'm not mad at him. I can still fellowship with him. I can still have these conversations with him, but he's not going to get behind my wheel again. He's not going to drive my car. And that's because that restoration is not going to be there. We are forgiven. He is forgiven, but I'm not going to let him drive my car. And we see that in our justice system too. Someone commits a crime, a felony, they go to do their time in jail, but then they can't carry a firearm. They can't do things like that. It's like that you've lost that privilege. We are forgiven. We're not looking to arrest you again right now. It's like, but you have lost this privilege because you've committed a felony. You've done it. You've done this. So that's the same thing. It's like this forgiveness has happened. And in the case of the justice system, you have served. You've dealt with the consequences. But this is also part of it. We've forgiven you. You're free to walk out of here. We're not going to look to put you in handcuffs again when you walk out of here. But you have lost this. And so some people need to realize you can forgive someone without giving them full access like they used to have to whatever it was in that area, whether it was your trust getting violated or whether it was they stole from you, whatever. You don't have to trust them. You don't have to give them that back, but you can forgive them. Forgiveness without restoration is possible. So, Zeke, go ahead and read the challenge of the week. Actually, I'll read the challenge of the week, and then I'll let you read the verse for the week. So the challenge this week is, well, first off, keep this in mind. Walk through this process. This thing. Someone offends you. What are you going to do? First, don't react. Okay, think about it. Make the biblical response. Respond properly. Uh, Figure out if you can pass over it or if you need to address it. Then address it with the goal of restoring a brother or sister, not to prove them wrong or to embarrass them or prove a point, anything like that. And then, of course, forgive them. Now, that's moving forward. Now, think about the people that you know now. Is there anyone right now that if they walked into your room, they walked into the door, and they said, "Hey," that you would try, you kind of like, let me fake, hey, or you just try to avoid them altogether? If there's anyone like that, then that is an offense that something is bothering you about. And I'm going to challenge you that this week you go and talk to that person and say, "Look, you offended me. Here's the situation," or something you did a long time ago or last week, whatever it was. This has bothered me, and I should have dealt with this back then, but I didn't. But I'm trying to be better about this, and I'm trying to extend forgiveness, and I'm trying to just live this life of freedom spiritually when it comes to these things. And this is what you did. It really bothered me, um, and I just needed to let you know that, and then give them a chance to respond. Most of the time, they're probably not. I didn't realize, and if they apologize, I mean, even if they don't apologize, you need to forgive them, but address that and then move on from that. And then don't bring it up anymore to other people. Don't keep complaining about those people. Actually give them the forgiveness. So use that. That's your challenge of the week. And then Zeke, I'll let you read the verse of the week to go along with this.
Yep, Proverbs 19:11, the discretion of a man deferreth his anger, and it is his glory to pass over a transgression. Anytime someone has offended me before, and I knew that I should forgive them, because I actually preached a message on that in our children's church, and I always like it. It says their glory to pass over. It kind of makes me think when someone came up to me to apologize, I said, "I already forgave you." I'm like, "Ooh, I'm already ahead of you, buddy."
That sounds like a
It's
self-righteous
it's
thing
not
right
self-righteous,
there.
but I'll tell you what, it feels good to like let them know like I've already. It feels good to be good, because if I'm wrong with you and better, then I'm not right with the Lord, because the Lord is just like the one who says in the parable, "I forgave you of everything you've done, but why won't you forgive him? You're both sinners. I'm not a sinner." And so when I say I've already forgiven you at my relationship with the Lord, it makes me feel good, not like a ho ho ho, you little peasant.
Yeah.
But like it says, glory. It's like it just feels good. Like I've been able to overcome this. Whereas in the past, I would have a hard time. And it's not easy always. Something like I said, something recent happened with my boss and my boss's boss, and there was miscommunication, and they wanted to jump to some huge judgment steps with me, and that offended me. But and it was funny because right after that, we had a pastor did a sermon. I was like, I had to remind myself I have to forgive, and it is what it is. So when he came by again, my flesh was like, and I had to remember I already forgave him. So when he came by, it was as if nothing happened. And I think that's where it goes with, it is his glory to pass over. If you can get over it, do what you need to do and get over it. I think you're going to be so much more happier because your relationship with the Lord is going to be right where it needs to be.
Yep. So that is all for today's episode of the Iron Chat. Thank you guys for joining us. And Christian men, if you are not a member of the Iron Circle, we want to extend that invitation yet again to you guys. The link will be in the description, in the top comment, pinned comment as well. It is a community of Christian men. We're focusing on the 5 pillars: the spiritual, the mental, the physical, financial, social. And we're helping men kind of master all 5 of those pillars and be able to show up consistently and confidently in each one of them. Sometimes life feels like a balancing act where you can really do well in this one category, this one pillar for a while, and these other ones are down. And then you drop this one to pick up these. And and it seems like it's overwhelming and impossible to do all 5 at once. But it is possible to do all 5 at once. And that's what we help you do in the Iron Circle. Of course, there's encouragement, there's accountability, and it's a lot of good resources there for you as well. So make sure you join the Iron Circle. There's a QR code on the screen, and you'll be able to click the link in the description as well. And if you haven't already, make sure you like this video, leave a comment, share it with somebody else.
You gotta say it like this: like and subscribe.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. See you later. Bye bye. Adios.
Goodbye.